Welcome to the Freud's Angels weekly reading, bringing the collective guidance and understanding for this week's energy.
Remember, never give your power up to a reader or a reading. You always have the power of autonomy. Welcome, angels, to your weekly reading. We are reading from November 30th to the 6th of December. I don't know. I need a calendar. I can't.
I don't know either.
I think it's the 6th of December. I didn't look. I was like, okay,
I just keep hearing December and being like, that means I will have been in Kentucky for almost a year, and I legitimately can't understand that. It does not even process with me that that is a real thing. I'm always telling people, well, I just got here. That's why I haven't been anywhere. And it's like, you did not just got here.
Yeah.
You just ain't been anywhere.
Same. Like, I know.
Like, hold up in your nice little, like, happy place and loving it. So that's why you haven't been anywhere.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Anyways, yeah, it's the 30th through the 6th. So welcome to December. Happy Sag season. We are out of the retrograde, thanks baby Jesus. And you know, we're recording this before it ends. And so I have a sneaking suspicion that while we will get relief, it'll just slowly taper off. It won't be this massive crescendo of thank God and hallelujah and, you know, fanfare and fireworks. It's just going to be this slow release of pressure. There is something coming on the 8th of December. I will do a little bit more digging and I will share with you next week because that's a Mars thing that's happening that could feel disruptive. But
my Mars is also in Scorpio. I can't do it anymore, Scorpio. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to, but
Mars is Marsin, right? It's like, I just, all the planets. There's 5 retrograde planets this month, like in November. There was in November. And so it was just like hard. And a lot of them stay retrograde to the next year. And so it's not like we're in complete yay, but the ones that impact us on the surface, which is like Mercury, thank God, is going direct. The other ones are just they're longer, but they're under the surface currents, right? And so it kind of just feels like there's just this disruption that's a little beneath the surface. But
I don't. Well, yeah, and I can see that. Like when I look at the pattern app, right? Like it'll tell you like the dates ish of when you're going to be dealing with this part of the the retrograde or whatever. And sometimes they're really long. Like the other day, I was looking at it and I was like, not willing to do this until March.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, I mean, you're probably gonna have to, first of all. Like, but really it won't. But the intensity of it will shift as different things are happening. And that was the thing that soothed me in the moment, was just being like, oh, like it's not gonna be like this the whole time. It's just like this because they're like Scorpio season and there's a fucking new moon and like that. Like there's a lot going on right now. So it's intensifying that in a different way than, like this last week or the previous week being super emotional for me in a way that is not normal for me, and just being like, oh, okay, that was just an intense period, right? And there was purpose in it, and then we move on to something that's a little bit less intense and maybe a different part of that whole, right? Like it's like, here's the whole goal and here are all our little micro goals that we have to hit.
Yep, absolutely. So how are the mermaids supporting us this week?
Well, the mermaids have brought out this card again that we've seen recently. It is the discernment card again.
Ooh, girl.
And like immediately when I looked at it, the words, what's real and what's not, came into mind. And I was like, all right, this isn't about like what's good and what's bad, because I think that's usually what we think of with discernment. Like if I'm having discernment, it's either good for me or it's bad for me. But this felt like the truth.
Yeah.
And God, that's a whole situation for many of us, because the truth is really hard to find, because there's many truths. And I had a conversation with a client this week about it, because we were talking about relationships and we were talking about how both of them, what they were saying is true. And that there is no one truth that both of them are going to have to live by in this certain situation, because it's just impossible for there to be one truth. There's one event that happened. Like that's the truth is being the event, but how everybody experienced it, the meaning that went with the event is true in both in two different ways, right? And just recognizing that, so that there isn't the fight over, you have to have the same meaning that I have to it, or else we are not going to progress. And that was that conversation. And then it had me thinking about that, about like, oh God, I mean, how often is that a thing where, we think our truth is the only truth because we feel it and we know it and it is our only truth.
Yeah.
But is it the only truth? Right? I'm feeling like rejected, but am I being rejected? Like, is that what's happening? What's the truth right now? All the truths. And so that to me is what this discernment card is coming out. It's just, saying like, what are some of the alternate things that could be happening, alternate truths for people, for places, for events, for meanings, to kind of loosen up that grip on knowing exactly what's going on, exactly why people are doing it, exactly what you're supposed to do. Because that, my dears, is a thing that I've been fighting with, of just trying to get out of uncomfortable situations right quick. And so I had to just go on my truth and be like, well, I know what's happening because I know what I saw, I know what the event is, and I know what that means. And it's like, well, if you slow down, there's other things that could be happening. And then also, if those other things are happening, the decision that you just made, the action that you were going to take, now it doesn't even make sense. Right? Like, now the action that you take, you can very clearly see as your saboteur. And so we're not going to do that. We're just going to sit and let some truths exist, because sometimes they can just exist for a while without us really having to do anything about it. And so that, to me, is what the discernment card came out to tell us today, is to, like, don't be lost in our illusions of our truth being the only truth, and kind of analyzing what makes it so important to have a hard truth to run with, right? Because, like, for me, that gives me, especially as a Libra who doesn't like to make decisions, I like to have a reason to make a decision. And if I do the Gemini part of me, which is fence riding, I will never make a decision. And I get hurt usually when I do that. So then that opposite of it feels like, make a good or bad judgment of what's good or bad and what's true and what's not, and then light whatever's not on fire. And so there's been this learning curve for me that goes with this, that is the question, what does it really matter right now? And that's been so fucking hard for me, guys. And I know it's hard for you too, because I sit down with people all the time and I talk about it and I say, so if this doesn't get resolved for a week, what actually happens to you? Well, I'll be stressed out. Like, okay, but do you have to be stressed out? Yes, because I'm not going to know what's going to happen. Yeah, you're not going to know for a week. Fuck. Like, and again, I don't, like we were talking about in the last one, I don't ask people to do things that I do for myself. So that is literally what happens to me, where I'm like, okay, 1 week of your life. Can you give it 1 week and see what happens? Because 1 week of your life is not that big of a deal. But if you start pushing and pushing and pushing, you're going to create an outcome that maybe wouldn't have happened if you just waited a week.
Yeah.
Just observed for the week. So yeah, this mermaid is coming out here to tell us to find what's real and what's not, what's true and what's not, and all versions of it, because there isn't just one.
I don't like that card.
I don't like that card either, because I just had to say all the things that I keep I keep struggling with it. I'm doing so much better, but it is a freaking struggle, because I realize so much how reactionary, like how my reactionary part comes out is that I decide what's real, and then I decide what needs to be done so that I can feel better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
Well,
it'll create an outcome, but it's not necessarily the outcome that could have happened. And now I'm sitting in a place where I really care. So there's that. There's a reason why I'm paying attention, is because I really care. Haven't cared like this ever that I can remember. So I'm willing to sit and do this work. I'm willing to go, fine. Wow, though, like, look at what you do when you think you know. Look at how you act and then how you feel afterwards, when you could have just not done it. Even if you had waited 10 minutes, that would have changed. You missed a pause moment, stuff like that.
yeah. Yep. I think too, though, is that when we are seeking the known or the stress, I think it also comes from the need for predictability. And so when you're in that state, like, consider asking yourself, does the unknown feel unsafe? Am I trying to create predictability so that my nervous system feels safe? And if that's the case, then take a second. What do you need? What reassurance from yourself do you need? Not from a situation. Because here's the thing, is that regardless of what you do, you can't control anything outside of you. And so when we know that and we come to terms with that,
two very different things.
Yes. We can kind of go in. It's like, what do I need right now? I need to feel safe. I need to feel I'm concerned because if this outcome happens, then it's going to change what I know, and the unknown is unsafe for me. Okay. So work through that within yourself, not within wanting the other person or the other situation to change that within you. That's just indications of where you need to tend to you, and where you're afraid, and where the fear is, and where the desire to need to know comes in, because that is how you detach from the outcome. That is how you detach from what happens. Not that you still don't want it, but you're less desperate for it. Like, your well-being doesn't like rely on that outcome. You can take care of that, and it doesn't mean that your feelings don't change, or that that maybe you're like, I still want this to happen, I'm still really needing this to happen. Absolutely. But if it doesn't, when you're self-supportive and understanding why you need that to happen, it creates a level of disconnect from it, and you're like, I want this to happen because I know in my heart that it is what I want. However, if it doesn't, I'm not so dysregulated and devastated. I may be sad, I may be depressed, I may be upset, I may cry, but it isn't like your whole world collapses if this one outcome doesn't happen. And that's the process of creating that, and that window of tolerance, that idea of, I'm going to self-support us regardless of what happens. I'm here for us. And so when we go down those little rabbit holes of discovery, then we understand why we cling to our truth so much that we can't just let it be what it is. We can't see the actuality. We see it from the lens of our need and our expectation. Yeah, I felt really triggered by that card. Because I'm in that, I'm in a place of that. I'm in a place of, are you allowing the truths to be the truths, and are you allowing it to be what it is? And do you have to have the outcome in order to feel good? Are you forcing an outcome that you think is right for you in this moment because you feel activated by whatever? And is that the outcome you really want?
Same
or will
girl,
it?
the same damn thing.
And so, and it's hard. It's hard because, like, I'm over here going, ugh, like, because I have an obsessive brain and it needs to control things. And I think because there's an impending possibility of being hurt.
Yeah,
And because of that hurt, and because of knowing how it's felt to be hurt or rejected or perceived rejection or whatever feeling that it's afraid of, it doesn't want to experience it because it's made meaning out of that going a certain way.
Yeah, it wants to shift the power dynamic because it feels safer that way.
And so how do I help that? By understanding what those parts need. What those parts need. Like, they have to trust me that I'm going to show up for me when I'm upset or sad or needing that. And that's also knowing the motivation, right? Like you were saying. So,
yeah. Well, and the other part of it being like the obsessive mind thing. I mean, obviously I have the same thing, and I've been like, seems like this is giving me an opportunity to work on that too. Because I need my brain to be going in different places right now. I need to be focusing on the co-op. I need to not be doing this.
Girl, I have a launch coming in less than a month.
Exactly, right? Like, so I keep telling myself, like, you know what? Just because you've always had this anxious, overthinking brain doesn't mean that that it serves you to like let it keep happening this way. Like, what can we do to shift that a little bit differently so that it's not the obsessive thinking, and that we can take it off the shelf and put it back on the shelf, and take it off the shelf and put it off instead of just living on the shelf.
Yeah. And I think too, for me, is like, as you were talking, I was thinking, yeah, what's the things that are waiting for my attention in my life? Like, I have to see their value as being more valuable than my outcome in this situation. Like the outcome to getting Sacred Body Path into the hands of people is more important than what happens in that situation, because that situation is only a microcosm of my life. And if I'm not putting weight and importance into the things that are important to me, then again, I'm self-sacrificing, I'm self-abandoning for the sake of something that isn't really that important. This is
the most triggering card for us.
I'm telling you, and just like they keep coming, and I'm just like, okay, but it's like, what do I want out of all these situations that need my attention? What is the one that A, is going to probably bring me the most joy, B, brings me the most satisfaction, and C, is the most important in my life right now? And it is not the situation that I'm obsessing about.
Mm-hmm.
It is the other things that are waiting. It is the email copy that is waiting that I need to finish, and that Laffy needs more than just 3 sentences. And like all these things that are waiting for me to show up and be present are being eclipsed, and I'm self-abandoning for this relationship or this friendship or whatever.
It sucks. I hate everything about what you just said, but I also love it because it's super on point.
I'm telling you, like, but these are those things though, right? And I'm not saying it's going to be easy to get myself out of obsession, but these are the moments, like last week, where I have to sit down with myself like a parent and say, hey, I know this is important to you, but this other thing is more important to you. This brings you so much more joy and so much more light into your life. This is where your heart is. I really think you should shift your focus to this, because it is the most important thing to you right now. This other thing, you don't have any control over it. You don't have any input over it, but you have input here. Take your energy, take your franticness, take your whatever you need, and pour that energy into something else. And then it feels less like you need to do something over here, because your energy is that energy is burned off.
Yeah, well, and it serves an empowerment purpose too, right? Like, because when we're talking about like having to force outcomes because we don't like how it feels to feel neglected or unchosen or rejected, it's kind of like, well, if you go ahead and choose yourself and feel good and have an empowered moment, that is going to build it more in your favor, the thing that you're actually looking for, which is feeling like worthy of being chosen by yourself, and worthy of, like being seen for the things that you're doing. And it creates contrast between you and the person who is not actually celebrating that with you.
Yep.
Fabulous. Super great.
Girl.
Yikes. We haven't even gotten to this fucking surrender card. God,
I know. These mermaids were like Finally, they
Well, they were,
showed up.
they like I said, they were in the last reading, they were mad as hell at me when I was trying to pull cards yesterday because they were like, "We're sick of saying the same shit to you about this. We're not going to do it." So I feel like today they were like nice and ready and just being like, "All right, yeah, you weren't going to listen yesterday, but you're going to listen today.
You can't escape this because you're doing something that's not
Right.
just
You would have
you.
bypassed that shit yesterday. Yeah, percent.
Oh my God. So, and it's funny in this card, I laugh, girl, I laugh. These next two cards, you are going to fall out of your chair with laughter. So, our surrender card for this week is surrender your fear of intimacy. You are ready to let love in, compassionately identify, and begin to release any old patterns that stop you from opening your heart. And here's the thing, intimacy, I think one person that I took a class that says into me see. Yes. This is like opening your heart and seeing. And intimacy isn't just relationships, right? It's the intimacy with your spirit, your heart, yourself. Like, when's the last time you had this moment within yourself, right? This moment of what is the truth, like Vanessa was saying, in the situation? Like seeing my behavior and seeing why I needed to do this thing. Why was it so important? But also seeing the reality, like the other truth of what are you sacrificing for being this obsessive?
True.
How are you not showing up for yourself in this situation? And we get caught up in like needing to well, for me, I'll just speak for myself, like needing to like direct the energy of it, to call out, to set boundaries. And yeah, while that may be important, what's more important? To understand how I feel, to not go outward with my energy, but to go inward, to take care of the parts and the pieces of me that feel it needs to do those other things so that it doesn't need to do those other things. And so it's kind of getting intimate with my own MO, my own tendencies, with love, with compassion, with allowing myself to love myself in a way that feels good. But also, that's what's going to prepare us for, if you do take this literally as a relationship with someone else, that's what prepares you for taking away the expectation on that relationship. It's like we said it in the beginning, I think it was episode 1 or 2. It was of this entire thing was about that love cake. And I say it in therapy all the time. And I was like, you have to be the cake. You have to be enough for you. You have to be what you're seeking in others in a relationship to do for you. And that may take some like deeply understanding of your patterns, your behaviors, your motivations. If I really want this, and if I'm really hard in setting a boundary and doing what I need to do here and put my foot down. Yeah, but if you want to do that there, what about with you? Like, what are you doing for you? That doesn't heal those parts. That just defends them, that protects them. That's not healing. It's just protection against a perceived threat. You future projected that this is going to happen. And so you have to protect yourself for that to happen. Whereas, to be honest, the reality is you have these beautiful things in front of you that are asking for your love and attention, including myself, right? Including me. I'm wanting my love and attention. Yeah. And I think that's the struggle, for those of you who struggle being codependent or people pleasers, this is the in between. This is the liminal space where the people you have been codependent and people pleasing with are still in your life, and you have changed and you have shifted and you have healed. You become more inner, you become more intimate with your heart and with yourself. And you're like, ooh, wow, okay. But yet those tendencies still hang out in the energy of that relationship with those people. And so coming back to yourself, coming back to you and saying, okay, that's that person. And I need to protect myself because A, I know what's going to happen. And B, there's a part of you that feels like you're failing them, that you're not being supportive, because there is still that part that feels that needs to be codependent. And so how do I support that part versus forcing the outcome? How do I support my codependent part in that situation and say, look, I know it feels so wrong to set boundaries with people, but what do you need right now? What do you think you need from that situation? Connection, love, friendship. Okay. How can I supply it to myself? How can I take that connection for me in the ways that to get what I feel like I got from that by being codependent, by being in that friendship, and say, okay, how do I supply that to me? Because then it doesn't matter the outcome, right? It doesn't matter what happens because I don't need it. I don't need it. That's the whole reason why for the disruption is because I'm needing that less and less because I'm being self-supportive. That's the purpose of it. And so I need to continue that and not let old behaviors and old patterns change how I approach this.
Yeah.
That's old patterning. And I'm like, and I'm not shaming myself because that is my old patterning. That is still alive within me. But this is the healing. It's the noticing, it's the recognizing, it's the being intimate with myself and being honest with myself and saying, girl, you're just trying to force something because you're protecting yourself. And it's valid and I understand. But to be honest with you, the bigger, more easier way is to go in and support that part that feels it needs to be protected.
Yeah.
And that feeling, or even if you don't do parts work, that feeling and that emotion that needs to be protected. What does it need? How do I provide it for me? And so,
or find it in a different source depending on what the thing is, right? Like, because sometimes we'll use these blanket statements, I need connection. What the fuck does that mean? Like, what kind of connection do you need, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll be, feeling some type of way and my daughter just comes over and wants to lay on me for a few minutes and I'm like, wow, I feel amazing right now. You know what I mean? Like I guess I just needed a hug. Right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know that, right? Because I was hyper focused on what this connectivity means, right? But it was just like, you just needed a hug. You could have hugged your dog. Like, gotten some type of thing, right? Like, cause I get those feels from when I hug my dog. So
Yes.
yeah, like that intimacy, the truth of intimacy though, because I got to tell you, I mean, my saboteur is a great schemer. Like she's really, I mean, the more that I talk, about like how much I've sabotaged in my life, like I'm like, it all made sense. It always makes sense. But it only makes sense on a surface level. And then the depth of me is where it hurts, where I'm like, I wish I didn't do that. Right. Because I didn't check far enough into myself and what I really needed and what I was really feeling. Right. Because needing connectivity because I feel rejected is very different than needing connectivity because I just feel disconnected because I haven't been around somebody for a while. That's going to look two different ways. My behavior is going to be two different things. But if I don't look long enough for what's true in that moment, I'm going to act out. And that's typically what happens with me. So that learning what the truth is, not just necessarily what other people are doing too, but the truth of you, of like what truly is happening here. Why is it happening? What is this also like? What has this done for me in the past? I mean, really sitting with a lot of things, not with, like having to do it harshly, just hanging out with it, just being like, what, like, will this work? What will that, just that being in that curious space instead of rushing to like, I know what's happening and I know what I need to do, and that's going to fix everything. And then afterwards being like, not fixed. And now I have another layer.
Well, it's, that saboteur is just trying to protect you.
Yeah, I definitely.
And so what does it need
protection from? Literally everything. And I'm like, girl, there's not that much threat. We're going to chill a bit.
But something perceives the threat.
Sure, because she's never done the work.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's not her that's the issue. The saboteur only comes up when there's a threat from somewhere else.
Yeah, but it's a perceived threat because the same threat keeps coming up. So the same saboteur comes out to do it because I haven't sat with it to say, you know what, that is not actually a threat. You don't even need to be here right now. Isn't that interesting? Right? Like that's the part of it, right? Like is recognizing, hey, this is a cycle and and it is not okay. Like I am not willing to accept that this is okay anymore because I won't change it if it's okay. Hence everything I did prior to today, just being able to say like, you cannot be here right now. You can be here to talk to me, but you're not getting behind the wheel of this bus right now because we're doing it differently. We're going to sit together and figure out what really you're looking for, because I know what you're looking for on the surface and you know how to get it. What do you really need underneath there? Because otherwise we're going to create a bad relationship again, because then I'm going to be mad at you for driving the bus, even though I forgot to stop you. It's a whole conversation, and each situation is different. Again, my saboteur apparently has been around in lots of different situations. So I've discovered the different ways that I have conversations with why she's here, what her logic is, what her, what her hurry is. So yeah, good times. This is a great one. I'm gonna have a great afternoon.
Y'all didn't know you're coming for therapy on a Sunday afternoon with us.
I'm so glad it's football Sunday, so I can just like fucking watch some football instead.
Go away.
Let's see if I can guess the numerology number. Like I did last week.
So our numerology number this week is 93. It is, and I laugh and I hesitate to call, because I immediately know what's going to happen for people. The card is happy endings. And I think happy endings are less about it's going to live happily ever after if I get this relationship. Like it's not a predictive card, friends. This isn't a predictive moment. And I feel some people will want to predict this moment, and I get it. We need prediction. We're fearful. There's so much going on. But think about it this way, right? We just talked about intimacy. We just talked about discernment. I was like, what was that card again? We just talked about so many spaces of showing up for yourself, of being available, of being honest with yourself, of seeing yourself in your truth and seeing the truth of your behaviors, the intimacy of who you are. And when we can sit in those spaces, regardless of how much work there is to be done or healing to be done, your happy endings come in these little moments. And these, like my world is upside down right now, but I'm still finding moments of joy, sitting with Vanessa, moments of like hanging out with my cat and just being grateful she's my, it's these happy endings come for when we have these perspectives and this intimacy and these discernments of what to do, of how to use the information and where to go. And if knowing all the things that they just freaking downloaded to me that was personal versus like, it may not be for the collective, it may have just for me, but now it's in the collective. Knowing that and being like, yes, like shift your focus on the things that are truest to your heart. It's not that I'm devaluing my needs in other places or devaluing their need for prediction, but I can support them whilst continuing forward and going in the places. That's what's going to bring me happy endings, is refocusing my energy and my obsession into the places that feel better for me. Not in relationship with other people, not in relationship with other things, but in relationship with me and whatever it is I'm focusing on. And that is like, especially if it's a self-creation thing, it's a self-driven thing. The more time we spend on the things that make us happy, that are just within ourselves and we're doing for ourselves or with ourselves, the happier our endings are going to be. And it's not to say we don't have relationship with people, but the more we focus on those moments when we are in disruption in relationship, the relationship stuff kind of almost figures itself out.
Yeah.
We see perspective differently.
And a happy ending. I mean, growing from something is a happy ending. Discovering something to me is a happy ending of something, or it's the beginning of a happy ending of a coping cycle that we don't want to be in. I mean, if we really I like the idea of just expanding what a happy ending actually is. It can be an ending of anything, a thought process that can be happy if we end a belief system that has not been serving us. That is a happy ending, and we can choose to enjoy that as
obsession.
Yeah. Sending crazy texts.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be ending that.
Yeah. Love her, but need her to not do that.
Like, just hang out over here. I'll let you loose. I have to give her the promise that she can be let loose if necessary. You're not in all prison.
Sending dramatic emails.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. Yeah.
We're doing it.
So create your happy ending by understanding.
Love it.
Yeah. So our money card this week, I deserve to feel good about money. We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. So my friends, I hope you have a lovely week. We will see you next week, and check our Facebook to see if we will go live this week. We should, but who knows? Life happens, schedules happen, hockey happens. And so, yeah, just check our Facebook and Instagram to see if we're going live. And if so, come join us. We'll love to talk to you and to share with you.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next week.
Thanks for listening.
We hope we gave you something to support your journey.
Check out our Facebook or Instagram page to connect with us.
Have a great week.